take a look at some new stuff with this one too. So on question 20, I guess you could take the log of both sides. That's maybe how I would have presented it in your notes. But back in question 1a, they tried to get you to think of this. If you have a base that's e on the left side and a base that's e on the right side, these parts are already equal. So we really just need to make sure that these are equal. So you can go straight to trying to figure this out. But to solve a quadratic, you want it in standard form, so you want to move everything over to one side set equal to 0. And then to solve the quadratic, to get our answers, quadratic formula is the only thing that always works. Factoring is what we always hope works, because factoring is quicker. So I would try to factor it, but there's only one thing that multiplies to -1. That's positive 1 times negative 1. But this doesn't FOIL to give me a minus x in the middle. So unfortunately that doesn't factor. So the only way to get the answers then, the exact answers, would be with quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So this would be 1 plus 4, so square root of 5. And so looks like there's your two exact answers if you didn't want to have a decimal. I guess you could type them in your calculator to get a decimal. But something that your calculator can do that you guys are probably not aware of, if you're doing calculus next year, you will need to use this quite a bit in calculus because on AP test they expect you to know this. But your calculator can kind of help you solve these type of things if you're okay with the decimal. So under math, if you go to the bottom, it says something like numeric solver or algebraic solver or something like that. You can put in one side of the equation and for E1, the other side of the equation for E2. If you have a different calculator, it sometimes looks different. But you go down, and then on top of here, top of x equals, if you hit alpha enter, you'll notice that it says solve in green down here. If you do that, it will find you one of your answers. And so 1.618. So one of these is approximately 1.618. The problem with the solver is when there's more than one answer, finding the other answer is kind of tough. You kind of have to put in a guess, like -1, and tell it to resolve, and then you hope that you get a different answer, like -0.618. Now, since I already had this is way better, but I'm just saying, like, if you needed to solve this, you were okay with decimals, you didn't want to do quadratic formula, your calculator can solve them if you're used to doing that. So.